more of an informal conversation type of piece. I really wanted to get more up close and personal with this conversation. So yeah, I'll give you a little bit of information and backstory on me. I am a documentation at Meta. I've been in tech for about 11 years now. I have a very unconventional, untraditional pathway into tech. I'm completely self-taught. I taught myself how to code as a necessity in order to get myself out a bad situation that I was in. I was a homeless single mom, and I was able to teach myself to code using YouTube and lynda.com, and you know, here I am today. So
technical difficulty. Okay, there we go. Hi everyone, my name is Sydnee Sampson. Today I will be interviewing the wonderful Brittney, where she will be going very much into detail about ERGs, how important they are, how she's leading as an ERG leader at her present company, and hopefully to inspire some of you guys in the audience to go to your companies and create ERGs as well. Are you ready to get started?
yeah.
All right, let's go. So my first question to you today, Brittney, is if you can explain to our audience, for the ones who do know what an ERG is and for the ones that don't, can you just go into more of a detail about what it is?
Yeah, sure. So ERGs are employee resource groups. They're groups where they're for specific groups. So we have the Pride at ERG, we have Black at, we have Women at, we have Parents at, and so it's a group where you can form community within your company, and they're really helpful. I know imposter syndrome is big, and you know, ERGs have helped me get over my imposter syndrome and find a community.
So what ERGs are you currently a member of at your company?
There's a big list. So I am the Black at Pride co-lead. I'm also a part of Black Women at. I'm also a part of Pride Parents at. I'm a part of Dog Moms. There's a lot of different ERGs that you can be a part of, and like, you know, I love it.
So how would you explain your experience with those current ERGs that you are in now, and then like compared to previous companies that you previously worked for? What's your experience with ERGs?
Okay, so yeah, like I said, I started off my career very the untraditional way. So when I landed my first tech role, the companies that I worked for, a lot of them didn't have ERGs, and I actually didn't know how to find community because, you know, it was just me by myself. I didn't have family that was in tech. I didn't have any friends that I can turn to ask me, you know, where can I find community? Where can I learn how to do this? So like early on in my career, I went through a lot of imposter syndrome. I felt really alone. And so like, you know, today at Meta, finding ERGs and finding that community and that comfort and that friendship, it really helped me out a lot. With my career, my confidence, being able to speak, and just finding other people that can relate to some of the issues that I face at work, you know, in my personal life, and yeah, like you find forever friends. So I really love it.
You make ERG sound so powerful. That is crazy. I'm glad that, you know, your experience sounds like, you know, you're loving your company, and it sounds like that the most important thing is that these ERGs make you feel inclusive, right? Like they make you feel included in everything that's happening. I hear like, you know, that a lot of ERGs have like meetups, you know, where you can actually go and meet your coworkers outside of work, play games, like happy hours, and those things are very important.
That community is really important.
So my next question today for you, Brittney, is what does intersexuality look like in ERGs?
Good question. So a lot of you all are probably involved in ERGs. So with intersexuality, I would join groups like, the Parents Act. And because, I'm a queer mom, it never felt like strictly for me. There were always questions and things that I wanted to ask that I was nervous to ask because of, the space I was in. So it didn't always feel like a safe space. But one of my coworkers told me that we also had a pride parent group, and I just felt like a relief, to ask questions. How can I teach my kids about this? How can I find books that I can, show them that, other people have two-mom households. I could introduce them to, what is non-binary, cartoons that reflect, their families. And so like finding a ERG where other people felt like me and, we could connect and share resources was really important to me. And so like that's where intersexuality in ERGs is important, because you can have these groups, but if you don't fit into one box, sometimes you still feel, a sense of exclusion. So making sure that you have these subgroups under the umbrella groups is very important.
That's awesome, Brittney. Like I said, I'm moved over here. I'm also a part of ERGs at my company, but like you're making me, want to go back to my company and try to like start more ERGs, right? We don't have at my company, we don't have a Black at Pride group yet. And that's one thing that I feel like that we're waiting on, and I think Sydney is going to help start that.
Good for you.
That's amazing. So my next question today for you, Brittney, would be if you could give, like, I'm sure some of you in here would like to know, like, how hard is it to start an ERG? Like, is it something that you just, fill out a form? Like, can you start it overnight? Like, what are the steps to actually create one?
Well, you first have to like gauge interest. You have to find, your people. You have to see like how many people are interested in this. Is this the issue? Once you get a large group, together, and they all have the same interest in you, that's when you start the paperwork. You start to get executive buy-ins. You talk with leaders, and you basically plead your case on why this is important. You create a description of, your ERG and, the community that it's going to serve, and you hit the ground running from there. Like, you have to be on top of it. You can't let it go radio silent. You have to be involved, whether it's setting up virtual events, whether that's, reaching out in the chat, checking on the community, posting resources, creating happy hours, different, off-site events. You have to be involved in the community, because that's the part that's, important, that community feel, and making sure that, the connection, because due to COVID, like, we have all lost connection, and like ERGs are working really hard to bring back that interaction and that connection that we had post-COVID.
So you're telling me that anybody here can start an ERG today or tomorrow if they wanted
sure
to?
They sure could. Okay. And I recommend it.
Okay, let's go. So, what are the benefits of creating ERGs that cater to the different identities of the different individuals?
Like I said, it creates a sense of belonging, especially with in tech. Tech is not, we're working on it, but it's not as inclusive as we would like. So by creating these spaces where people can, feel safe and be, unapologetically themselves, it matters, and it's really important, and it really helps companies with their retention rate. It helps, build up confidence, and if you have a great ERG where they have community, a lot of people want to stay longer. They want to work harder. They, it makes them believe in the company's mission more, because you're supporting them, on another level. So it's really important.
That's awesome. And like I said, from just sitting here, on this panel with you, I'm going to make sure I take, I'm taking notes, mental notes over here, right? When I go back to my company, I'm also an ERG leader, but that Black Pride ERG is something that I'm, very passionate about, and I've been looking up and inspired by Meta for the fact that they do have a Black Pride, and they showed, that they're those two different sectors, right? Like you have your Pride individuals, and you have your people that are Black and brown individuals, right? But what's the sector in between? How can we bring those together? So,
exactly.
So yeah, I need your help on that part. So my next thing would be also for the audience, what action items do you have for everybody here today? What do they need to do to be able to go get an ERG put in place or create a subgroup for another demographic?
I would say you really need to look around and talk to your coworkers. See what they're missing. What would make them happy? What would make them feel more included? I'm really big on mentoring, and so I love talking to people and seeing what they need. How can I better support you? How can I make you, love what you do even more? And so creating these spaces, it actually helps people, love what they do and wake up happy. I get messages on workplace all the time people telling me how kind and how generous and how much, maybe my good morning text in our Black at Pride, inspired them, or they were having a bad day. It just matters, that extra, going that extra mile for people. So.
For sure. So y'all hear from Boss Lady right here today that anybody can go ahead and start an ERG. You don't need any type of special experience. You don't need to, you don't need to hold a special position at your company. You don't need any of those things.
You need passion.
You
need passion. You need passion, and you need to want to see change within your company. If you want to see change, you want to, make a difference, and you want to create impact, I say start your ERG. Get a big group of people, get the numbers up, get your mission statement, and go at it full force, because we need these kind of communities, because especially coming in as a new, you're alone. You're starting a new career in a new company, and sometimes everyone doesn't always look like you. So creating these spaces for people to actually have that camaraderie and, that community is very important. So, if your company doesn't have an ERG, I want you to go and start it.
We're challenging you.
Yes, call to action.
For sure. So thank you guys for, sitting here for this panel today. Like I said, ERGs are very, very, very important. And we really wanted to get, Meta's experience on how they're doing it, and how they have been able to, support their Black Apps, support their Pride individuals, and then come together and build a wonderful Black App Pride ERG that Brittney Ball is now co-leading here in the Bay Area. So everybody give a round of applause for Brittney today.
Be a good person at all times. You never know what anybody else is going through.